Hello, dear all. I was just asked to say maybe a few words about LA in California, what's going on with the forest fires. Just a few thoughts. I think primarily on a human level, we should just send good vibes and extend ourselves to be there for whoever needs at most, and our close ones, our relatives, our families, our friends. We are here, those that are near you in US, and we want to be available and we want to be useful and helpful. On a physical level, those that are there, I'm sure, are doing the best they can to avoid anything and everything. I think the most normal and at the same time unuseful is the reactivity, looking whose fault, liberals. I just now heard that's how this recording came into possibility. Just one lady left a message and she's just saying like, oh, those liberals, they just like saving this one type fish, and that's why there's shortage of water to protect all their residentials and like all the people from this devastation. I think that's where we don't want to go, but that's how we are wired to react with like utmost aggression, looking for those to blame, who to blame, and how to express that anger and discomfort. And it's absolutely natural that it comes, especially when you have your loved ones there and you worry for them and their little kids and their mothers and elderly, etc., etc. And it doesn't matter, just any human being, any animal, anyone, you know, and nothing should be destroyed. But it's obvious and it's understandable that such reactions come, and we should welcome them. It's important for those that listen to validate, to hear out, to let them vent, so to speak. It's important for those emotions to be heard and understood and listened to and taken in, and just like sit quiet and receive. Allow those people just to vent with you. Obviously, number one is safety for people that are in danger, to save themselves. But all those like emotional, mental processes are important for us to know how to handle and how to make yourself available and be there for people. As a therapist, I just want to say that memories, maybe even from subconscious level memories, come up in the sessions, you know, devastation, war, hunger. It's deep in our subconscious, fires as such. They just sit in us and they create so much anxiety and tension and fear and discomfort and a lot of like heavy unresolved stuff. And sometimes when we come to unpack all those memories, or like tribal memories or personal memories or karmic memories, usually what shows up, good morning, thank you. Usually what shows up, we have to, in order to heal that scenario that is like stuck with the person and is there, is the therapy method that I apply, and it doesn't come from my mind, it just comes intuitively, and usually it pops in whenever such devastating scenarios pop out, is acceptance, is learn to understand that this world has its patterns. This world has certain logic to it, even though some parts of us do not understand, appreciate, or embrace it. But this world has patterns. This is the reality. And there is nothing not useful in your memory or in your emotional or mental DNA. There is nothing that you need to get rid of. There is nothing that is harmful. Even, you know, like stuff like abuse or hate that you experienced. The healing begins when a person is helped through therapy or through anything, any method, or through spiritual development or personal maturity, etc., to understand there is nothing truly bad that happened to us, and that we are part of this world, and we are affected with the patterns of this world, and we sign in to come into this world where there is a lot of good and bad, so to speak, unhappy and happy. There is a lot of that contrast, and we are part of it. And the minute we are helped to accept it, not accepting and being passive, of course there has to be healing, and of course there has to be a certain validation and healing and understanding and being there, and certain tools and knowledge has to be applied, and maybe not once, maybe few times, maybe more than few times. But at the same time, the beginning of everything is that this is what it is, and there's something right about that. And those parts of me that cannot accept it, I will bring them to therapy eventually after the hype is finished, and I will make sure even those limited or primitive or childish part of me still fighting with certain episode in my life or in my DNA, in my memory, and I'll make sure those parts will also understand and accept. Because it's not that you come to the therapy and you begin to heal and the therapist does hocus pocus and you're healed. No. Therapist has to help a person, number one, accept the reality, understand this is what it is going on or happened, and that is the reality, and there is no mistake there. I know when I'm saying it, it's a little bit rough and uncomfortable, but when a therapist is able to bring you to that place of acceptance, of true acceptance, that's when you enter the healing zone. That's when healing happens. When there is agreement and acceptance, and I understand, and it make or not make sense, but I accept and I surrender. There is something to it. There is something bigger than I could understand, but I accept it. It had to happen. It's going to happen in the future. Things like this will happen again and again. The minute there is a connection between you and that acceptance, that's when the healing begins. It could be your previous relationship. It could be hurtful areas somewhere you got unfairly hurt or dismissed or mistreated. It could be global things like that, like fires, like burning out states and cities, etc. It could be losing your business that you believed so deeply into. Anything, or not able to get married, or not able to have children, or not able to build the relationship that you truly want. That people come back again and again, whatever brings them. I recently hear a lot, I want that true deep connection with a partner, significant other, right? And I feel how people get stuck there. There is certain pleasure from just like wanting that, being miserable in it, wanting to continuously suffer in a way, but there is no hint of, okay, what do I do about it? And do I do enough? Do I do right things about it? Do I have the right tools? If those tools did not help me, that means those tools are not the right tools. And I need to change them. I need to upgrade them. Maybe they don't work anymore. Maybe they used to work, but now they don't. So that proactive kind of looking, it's not enough just to want to have a certain salvation or certain quality of life, there has to be an action, pro-action towards that. And I believe we are vibrational kind of beings, primarily. Everything happens through what we think and through what we feel. So fixing the patterns of our thinking and the patterns of our feeling, what we usually feel, do we usually give up quickly or don't believe things could happen for us or for others? Do we usually judge others? Do we usually put down in our thoughts others or ourselves? Like really, truly, and honestly look into those patterns and act on it to help yourself change those patterns. And you will discover that the most important thing is acceptance, believe it or not. Whatever happens in the world, how quickly you learn to accept, how fully you learn to accept. Did you accept out of like despair, or you fully presently accepting? And that's when the healing happens to you, because you are standing in a healing mode where you cannot be not healed anymore. You cannot be waiting there. This is a place where a certain level of acceptance happens, like conscious acceptance, not like, as I said, I'm giving up and therefore I'm accepting, right? No, it's a conscious, present acceptance of reality, knowing there's something bigger than me. Nature is bigger than me. God Almighty is bigger than me. Patterns of this world is bigger than me. Whoever wrote the patterns of this world, whatever consciousness wrote the patterns of this world, is bigger than me. And I submit to that. There is nothing religious about it. I just want you to be able to separate between those concepts that are religious, like out of humbleness, out of like love to God or to a certain system. You don't need to be religious to do that. In order to understand, there's certain element of existence where you grow and mature and develop and heal by checking into something larger than you. And there is some maturity there, there is some development there. And also, I notice a lot of times people convince themselves that they do submit. And they, like for instance, a single person could say, of course I agree with my single kind of status, right? I want a partner, of course I agree, but you feel energetically there's two modes. They could agree and give up, or they agree and actively act very aggressively towards potential next partner, or somebody who is not playing their preferences in a relationship, not doing what they want. That is a sign that there was no acceptance. A person could, in a way, be lying to themselves, right? And saying that, oh, I truly accept it. But the result shows that if I'm trying to rush, or I'm trying to push, or I'm trying to pull back, or trying to never commit, or never want to commit, or trying everyone to do my kind of job for me, decide for me, make decision for me, choose for me, push me, right? And all those things, it's all as a sign that a person truly did not accept their current condition. And the fact that they don't have a certain element of fulfillment or experience, it's also a sign that there's no acceptance. On some level, you're not accepting, you're arguing, you are fighting, you are not agreeing, you kind of still generate that fight, inner fight of not accepting. And some people define it as, if I'm not gonna fight, I will never find what I want. I need to fight. But I just want you to understand there is a quiet place. There is this point in us. And it doesn't mean we get stuck there. We just discover it. We we feel it, we open it up for ourselves as a resource where you just sit and say, whatever situation I'm in right now, or the world is in right now, or the state is in right now, there is some wisdom behind it. And I accept it and I submit to that wisdom. And the mind is going to take you to places like, what's wisdom? It's just like a sick mind created that discomfort for a lot of people. It's just negligent government and blah, blah, blah. Just return yourself back to that acceptance. There is nothing in this world that runs on its own. There is a consciousness behind it. There is a greater wisdom behind it. And that greater wisdom knows more than me. And I want to connect to that. And create that quiet place inside. Fixate it, like take an inner picture. What does that feel like? And refer to it as you move out from that place into the world of action, into the world of interaction, into the world of doing, into the world of accomplishing and changing and negotiating, etc. That place is a source for all the other more detailed, more nuances kind of areas. That place of quietness, of acceptance will give you sense of direction. Who to speak, where to speak, how to approach, when to slow down, when to rush. When you have a reference of that quiet acceptance, I just purely submit. If all those that are single, just purely submit. There's a wisdom behind it. And there is some amazing benefits for me to be single right now. If you can't conceive and you did everything possible to have and want a baby, and your mind is just going nuts saying there's nothing wrong to have a baby, I should want to have a baby and I want to have a baby. There is a healing moment when you just say, there is something crucially, amazingly beneficial for my soul and for my being to just not have this baby right now. And there's something really blissful for me in that. There's something in that lack for me right now. Very beautiful, and I want to connect to that. I want to accept it. I want to show up for that. Right? And then when you get nourished from that acceptance and love and presence and showing up for that, you will see, you will be moved to more consciously kind of mature decisions. You will see you're not going to be moved out of friction, out of devastation, out of in a way, immaturity, right? There will be some flow. You will know exactly what's next. That consciousness of acceptance will take you to the next right spot. And for me, I think when we develop that in our own, in a way, misery or that forest fire we all have inside us, where there's a lot of loud noise, a lot of like why and for what, and that's horrible, it shouldn't be happening, it never should have happened. Like innocent people are dying or devastated or scared. That tearing apart state of being we all have in us. And if you bring that healing mode there through acceptance and submission and giving yourself in towards that something is bigger, then I think largely will affect those bigger areas of humanity, just being present in the world in that mode. I think it's an individual work, firstly. Of course, as I said, in such moments of devastation, we are praying and we are there and we are emotionally and mentally and physically present. We want to make ourselves available. We understand it's devastating. We are not checked out from that human devastation. But there is much, 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 much important part of us that could navigate the whole humanity. What state am I in right now? Where is my inner forest fire or my flooding or devastation or or a horrible kind of scene. How can I heal that? Where else can I submit? Where else can I give more thanks and appreciation and understanding it's all part of the bigger blessing and love, and just embrace that. Okay, thank you so much for listening. Hope it was interesting and beneficial. But again, my love and my heart goes out to all those families that are right now in LA and near areas. They should be saved, they should be protected, and they should feel the love of Hashem present next to them. And it's important to be connected on that level. It's really important to just feel what's going on and give your presence, your love, your attention. Thank you for listening, and I love you all, and we'll be in touch soon.